The Model Shop live scale modeling show is brought to you by Tenant Controls, makers of lighting kits, soundboards, and more. Tenant Controls brings your models to life. And by HDA ModelWorks, suppliers of scale model lighting products, detail parts, and complete model kits. Visit HDAModelWorks.com today. Well, hello there again, everybody, and welcome to episode 107 of the Model Shop, our live scale modeling show. We're coming to you from our shop here in San Antonio, Texas. I'm your host, Boyd Crompton. Glad to be with you guys tonight. We got a nice little show in store for you guys tonight. We're going to be working on the bench tonight on our Jolly Roger. We started that in the last episode, making some nice progress on this kit tonight. We're going to be working on the gun deck. We got a whole bunch of old-fashioned cannons we've got to mount down onto the gun deck. We started off in the first installment of the build doing the painting of the deck work, and I've done some painting on the small little cannon parts, and we're ready to put that together tonight. So that'll be our live on the bench segment for tonight. We've got a nice little out-of-the-box kit review for you guys tonight. This is the Tamiya 1/35 scale Tiger 1 kit. This was sent in to me from a good friend of mine, Rick Berger, who I met at the Model Fiesta show a couple of weeks ago, and thanks again for sending me the kit, Rick. This is exactly the kit that I've had my eye on for a long time. I'm a big fan of the Tiger tank, and especially the early version like we see here, so we're going to pop this out of the box here and take a look at the parts. I'm actually going to be building this up for the Classic Plastic 101 tribute build that's being hosted by Kenny May over at Mindless Model Works. So now I've got a kit to put together for that. Don't forget, guys out there, if you want to join that group build, there's plenty of time. I think they have an open-ended finish date, so you can take as long as you want to build your kit, and so you've got plenty of time to get in and get involved. It looks like there's a lot of people from around the community that are doing builds for that, so that's really great to see. And it couldn't be for a better cause, and to a nicer guy, a tribute to a nicer guy than Chris Cortell at Classic Plastic 101. He's spent so much time over the years sharing his modeling experiences with us all, and it's helped us all be better modelers, and so we really appreciate it. So I hope people join in on that, and I'm looking forward to getting started on mine. Let's see, tonight we have some stuff we want to show you before we kick off the main part of the show. As I said, we're going to do the Tiger tank review. We're going to be on the bench with the Jolly Roger. I've got some stuff to share with you guys here at the start. We've got Let's see. First, we'll bring up the. We've got a new Star Trek model kit that's hitting the market. This is new from AMT. This is the complete set of all the Enterprise starships. Now includes also the NX-01. These are all in 2500 scale. So this is going to be a nice little set. And one of the things I was reading about on this that I really like is that now they're including, as you can see in the upper part of the picture here, they're including some stands with each one of these models, which they didn't give you before with some of these individual releases of these particular kits. And the word is that they've improved the decals on these too, so hopefully that'll be better. I know a lot of people have had problems kind of off and on with the decals on some of those Cadet Series kits, so hopefully this will be a nice little package. I know I'm going to pick one of these up. I'm not really into these smaller kits, but I think it would be nice to have a display with all the starships all on the same scale. So as a group like that, it's going to be a pretty nice little little package to get together, especially if you're a Star Trek fan. I also wanted to share with you guys, I got some cool little parts that came into me this week. These are sort of pre-production parts from Jerry at HDA Model Works. I'm going to bring you guys up these pictures I have here. For those of you out there who are interested in building the 1/350 scale Enterprise refit kit from Polar Lights, Jerry's been working with a really talented 3D modeler who creates 3D files, and they've come up with these new replacement parts which are much more accurate and much more detailed than the kit supplied parts. What we see here is we have the lower saucer planetary sensor, and this is an absolutely beautiful part. It's just super crisp in the detail, and they've reshaped it completely so it's screen accurate to the way we saw the Enterprise refit and the Enterprise A in the various Star Trek movies. You can see the big change there at the leading edges of the part there, that they now have the slanted edges like they should, and the center section there of the dome itself is a much lower profile, and it's an exact match for the original look that we saw in the studio scale model that we saw in all the films. I compared that part to the kit supplied part, and it's just a night and day difference. This is such a nice part. These are going to be 3D printed parts, and they're going to be very crisp and very clean when you get them. Now, Jerry wanted me to let everybody know not to contact him right away. We're going to be announcing here on the show when these parts are going to be available for sale on Jerry's website over at hdamodelworks.com. So it'll be coming up very shortly, but these are just some pre-production parts that he sent me for samples to take a look at, and I was really pleased with what I saw. Here we have the replacement bridge, and this bridge is just beautifully detailed. You can see it's a lot more accurate with this detail we have here up on the top, and we now have these nice really finely scribed detail panels that are here that are kind of really poorly done on the original Polar Lights part, and the profile of the bridge is much more accurate, so it's a really nice piece. Right now I'm experimenting with it to see if we're going to be able to make any adjustments to that or not, because we're going to, most people want to put the floodlight in right here at the front, so I'm going to be working around with some LED lights and trying that out on a saucer and see if it has to be raised up or not. It may very well work just the way it is for doing the floodlight effect at the front of the saucer, but I'll get back to Jerry and report on that, and then he'll go from there. But again, you guys can look forward to seeing these parts coming out pretty soon. Here we have a completely new impulse deck for the same model kit, which is much more accurate and shaped exactly like it should be for the Enterprise refit. The one from the Polar Lights kit is pretty far off. It's the shape on it's not exactly right, and I'm told by Jerry that when you buy this particular part from him, it will also come with some photo etch grills for it and some paint masks, so you can mask off the area in the center here that's supposed to be transparent, so your impulse engine lighting can come through. So that'll be a nice little package. I think Jerry's going to offer these parts individually and also offer them as a complete set. So if you're into the Enterprise refit and you're looking for accuracy, these are going to be really nice. I'm actually going to be building another Enterprise refit. I've got one started about 35%, and I'm going to be using these new parts, and I'm going to be using the new Mega control board from Tenna Controls, and a lot of new things that have come out since the last time I built a refit, so some pretty cool stuff to try out on that. Here we see we have some replacement mag grills for the warp nacelles. Now these are also much more accurate. You can see that the leading edges here of these have been rounded off like they should be, just like they are in the studio scale model, where the ones that are on the kit are again, they're not exactly accurate. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to shave down the original ones that are on the kit and simply glue these on in place, and which will be nice because it'll be a lot easier to paint these and put them on than it is with the way that they are in the kit. That's actually one of the harder areas to paint on that model, being already installed like that, and you have the color of the photo or the grills here, and then you have that blue that goes around it, which is really kind of hard to mask, but this will make that a lot easier. Here's a photo of the planetary sensor just sitting on top of the bottom of the saucer, and you can see it fits on there absolutely beautiful. I mean, there's basically no gap at all. It lays down on there really nice, and with a little bit more light on it, you can see that the detail here, these kind of little greelies that were in place on the studio scale model, are now here and very accurate. They're there all the way around. Those are missing from the polar lights part. You can see that it has a much lower profile like it should, and it's just an absolutely beautiful part. So again, if you're trying to be accurate on your Enterprise model, you'll definitely want to get these parts. And here's the bridge in place, and you can see it has a beautiful profile to it. Really looks nice with that extra detail here around the front. So again, these parts will be coming out very soon. Jerry's been working really hard on these. It's been about a year-long process to go through the 3D design and then finally get to the molding stage and everything. And he's going to be able to mass produce these, so he'll have plenty of these available when they finally has them available on his website. But like I said, he told me that we'll make the announcement here on one of the shows, and then I'll probably say something about it on one of the videos or something, so everybody kind of gets a heads up, and then you can go ahead and start ordering the parts. So I'm really looking forward to getting some of these myself. This is going to be a nice addition on the Enterprise refit. So there you go, guys. Some pretty cool stuff. Okay, time to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we'll start things off tonight with the out-of-the-box kit review of the Tiger 1, and then we're going to head over to the bench and start doing some work on the Jolly Roger on the gun deck. We're going to be putting down all the cannons. Looking at this kit, there's quite a few cannons on there. This thing was loaded, so that's going to be pretty fun. That'll take us a little while, and then we'll wrap things up tonight with our usual shout-outs for who's here tonight and our Q&A, and I'm going to talk about at the end some new things that we're going to be doing on the show and some upcoming episodes that you guys might be interested. So we'll be back right in a second, everybody. Stand by. Okay, everybody, well, moving right along here, here is our out-of-the-box kit review for tonight's show. This is the 1/35th scale Tiger 1 kit by Tamiya Models. This is a really, really nice kit. I've been actually wanting to get this kit for a really long time. The Tiger 1 is my favorite version of the iconic German Tiger tank from World War II. I want to say a special shout out to my modeling friend Rick Berger, who sent me this kit. I met Rick a couple of weeks ago at the Model Fiesta show here in San Antonio, and we were talking models, and he asked me if I still wanted to build a Tiger tank. I had mentioned it a while ago on one of the shows or something, and I said I hadn't found a kit yet, and he said, well, he would send me one. So thanks a bunch, Rick, and this is exactly the kit that I wanted. This is my favorite version of the Tiger tank. I love the original early version that had this gray paint scheme, and before they put the Zimmerite on there, I think that's what it's called, where they had this kind of wrinkled material all over the sides of it that just kind of took away from the clean look of the tank, I always thought. And this does come with an in-scale commander figure, so it's a really detailed kit. And with Tamiya, you can count on a lot of detail parts and being very accurate and everything. So I had a quick look at the parts in the kit here before today's show, and I'm just really impressed with what I see. We'll do a build-up of this a little bit later on. I built the 1/35th scale Screamin' Mimi Sherman tank kit here a while back, so it'll be nice and in scale with that. And Rick also sent me some nice military figures. I'll show you guys those really quick. We have the military miniatures from Tamiya, the American U.S. Infantry West European Theater figures, and we also have the 1/35th scale German Panzer Grenadiers set. So we can put a couple of figures with this tank, and I'm getting some ideas maybe for a diorama or something. We'll see, but this is really, really cool. So let's go ahead and pop it out of the box and check it out. We'll take a look at the instructions here towards the end. But this first bag of screws here has all the drive wheels and bogies, and you know, looking at the parts here, they are really, really nice. Typical Tamiya. The detail on these is really sharp and crisp. I like the fact that they've got it already molded in this kind of color that the tank should be. We're going to go ahead and paint it anyway, but it makes it a little bit easier to paint that because we don't have to put our paint on there really thick to cover up a different color. So we've got all these drive wheels and bogies and everything. They're beautifully done. I'm sure there's some aftermarket parts available for this kit. It's an old kit. It's been around for quite a while. There's probably photo etch. There's probably a metal gun barrel and all that. But I'm going to go ahead and build this right out of the box. It looks to be so detailed, and everything looks so nice on it that I think it'll come out just fine the way it is. But here we have some detail parts that go on the surface of the tank. Some U-bolts here for towing, and some hatch covers. There's a little shovel here. Some more hatch covers, things like that, but mostly the drive wheels on this sprue here. More of the same on this one. We have another shovel, we have more drive wheels, some of the cantilevered levers there for the suspension. Looks like those two sprues are identical. And move along here, we have, looks like our decal set. Let's go ahead and pull that out and check that out really quick. We have the German iron crosses on there, different markings. Now on the box art you can see you can build two versions of this tank. You've got this one here, which is the one I'm going to do, and you also have another one here with a lot of camo on it. I think they call that the, yeah, that's the Russian January 1944 version. This early one is Russia Summer 1943, so that's the one we're going to be going for. But the camo version is pretty cool too, so you can see that. So we've got markings on here to do either one, and it's a pretty nice little decal set, typical water slide type decals. And let's take a look at our next sprue here. Looks like we have the main gun barrel here. I'm not sure what size gun these had on them, but they were quite a bit larger than most of the other tanks at the time. I think the only tank that had a larger gun or equal gun was the Russian version of the tank that they came out with later in the war, which was equal to or better than the Tiger tank. But the first several years of the war, there was nothing that could touch a Tiger tank, and they were just incredibly fast, heavily armored, huge gun, and very maneuverable, so they were to be feared on the battlefield. But here we have some cabling detail for towing. We have the exhaust system here in the back. We have some hatch compartments here, just a bunch of small little detail parts. But like I said, typical with Tamiya, we have some really nice, crisp details on all this stuff. Here's the machine gun, and just a lot of stuff. I kind of wish the barrel was molded in one piece, but that's okay. We'll fix that up real nice. A little bit more going on here. We have This one here, which is kind of interesting, you can see, oh, I was wondering what this was. We have this little piece of flexible rubber hose here, and we can see with the instructions that that's actually to be cut in sections, and you glue it onto the exhaust system. It's part of the air filter system in the back, which is nice that they did that. That'll make it look really realistic. But we have some extra tank tread here that will get mounted on the exterior somewhere, more parts of the exhaust, parts of the intake system, some more cables, and just a bunch of little detail parts that go on, a couple hatch covers and some headlights and things like that. Really, really nicely done. You can see this up close a little bit. To me, it does a great job with their stuff. Moving right along here. Let's see, we've got the main undercarriage of the tank here, which looks pretty straightforward, basically the same as we saw in the Screamin' Mimi kit that we did, just kind of a tub, and you mount everything on here, and then the upper body gets built up on top of that. So that's looking good. Here we have, looks like the upper body and the turret. And we can see we have the driver figure here, which he's in one piece. You just have to glue his arms on, and then his head mounts separately. We'll get him all painted up real nice. But the turret is in two halves. We have the forward gun mount here. Some nice grill detail on the top of the body of the tank there. Top of the turret looks really good. There's some rivets and stuff going on. But these were mostly welded, so they were really, really strong. Just heavy, super thick, heavy armor on these tanks. I don't know what they weighed, but they were incredibly heavy. And you can see we've got a lot of nice detail there. And finally we have our tread, which are these vinyl pieces, all one piece. Now you can buy aftermarket treads that are much more detailed than this, that you have to build all the segments and everything. But these will look just fine. I'm not a super armor guy, where a lot of these guys out there, they'll just, put everything possible into these builds. I just like to I'm kind of casual on these things, and this, like I said, being a Tamiya kit, it should look really, really nice, built right out of the box. And they do have a box stock class at the model show for tank kits, and I think I'll build this box stock and enter it into the show next year at the Model Fiesta, so that'll give me something to look forward to. But they look pretty good. Let's pop everything back in the box here now before I lose anything, and we'll take a look at the instructions, see what we've got going on there. But like I said, typical with Tamiya, you get high quality, very detailed, very accurate, and they haven't made any changes to this kit that I'm aware of. And it's been out probably for at least 20 or 25 years. So when it's good, you don't need to do anything to it. That's kind of the theory. So let's check this out. Here we have our paint guide. Let's look at that really quick first. Here we have the version that we're going to be doing. This is called the Russia 1943, and it's pretty straightforward, just all basic gray there. We'll do a little, definitely some weathering on it though, make it look like it's been out in the field for a little while. But we've got our basic markings that go on and all that. Pretty straightforward with that. Here, a lot more intricate with the Russia version. It's got a lot of really intricate camo and everything that goes on it. Actually, they're showing you a couple of different patterns there that you can do. So I'm sure they did their research on that, and this stuff's probably really accurate. But so you got some options there. Check out the instruction booklet here. You're starting off in this little subsection down here, building up all the drive wheels and bogies, the suspension. Pretty straightforward, same thing that we saw in the Screamin' Mimi kit. All these little articulated arms get mounted on there, and then all the wheels go on. There's 2 rows of wheels on this one, double layered. They often had a redundant system on these tanks for, so they would keep functioning even with a little bit of damage. They just kind of go on here. There's some interesting painting that needs to be done on these. Like there's the darker color that goes around the edge, probably the rubber that was around the edges of the wheels. We have the front armor plate here, the engine access hatch, then the top part of the tank going together. We build that all up, and then we drop that down onto the lower chassis. Then we start adding on all our small details. This is the exhaust system. Then they're having you build the treads. They recommend using standard model glue, but I usually like to use CA glue on that. That works out pretty good. Then we have our little detail here with our exhaust hoses that we just showed you, that piece of flexible hose that came with the kit. We're building up the exhaust system here. some of the hatch details, putting down those cables now, and just all kinds of small little details, the shovels, the tool kit, everything like that going down on here, the forward gun mount, which is nice because they actually give you some internal detail for the breech mechanism of the gun itself, which we didn't see that at all on our Screamin' Mimi kit. Now that was just a really cheap basic monogram kit, which they weren't known for like super detail back in the day on their kits. But this is looking really nice. So if we actually look inside the hatch, we'll be able to see a little bit of detail in there. So that's pretty cool. So here we have some extra tank tread pieces that go on. Some smoke grenade discharger is what those little tubes are. Okay, that's interesting. Little toolbox hatch cover kind of thing that goes in the back. And then finally we finish up by mounting the turret, and we finish up by painting the in-scale commander figure. So this is going to be a lot of fun, and like I said, you guys won't miss this one. I'll have this one on the channel here for you, either on the TrekWorks channel, or we'll build this up on the show maybe after we finish up the Jolly Roger. So there we go, guys. Pretty cool. And again, thank you, Rick Berger, for sending me this kit. I really appreciate it. As I said, it's exactly the kit that I've had my eye on for a really long time. So this is a great kit, and it won't take up a lot of space on my shelf, being 1/35 scale. It'll look really nice with my Sherman tank that we did a little while back. So I hope you enjoyed the out-of-the-box kit review, guys. There's probably a much more detailed kit review of this out there somewhere on YouTube if you want to find out a little bit more about it. We just kind of go over these generally and show you what's in the box, but looking forward to this one. Okay, time to move on to our next segment, guys. Time for a quick break, and we'll be back in just a couple seconds. See you then. Okay, everybody, back with you again. We're on the bench now, going to be working on the Jolly Roger. Hope you guys enjoyed the out-of-the-box kit review on the Tiger 1. Again, thanks, Rick, for sending me the kit. Can't wait to get started on that one. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a really nice kit. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be building that one pretty much box stock because I'm going to take that to the model show next year. And they have a box stock class for that there, so we'll see how that works out. Okay, guys, we left off last time where we painted the deck. We've got this looking really nice. It's had plenty of time to dry and everything now, and we've sealed it up with some Tester's dull coat, so it's pretty much ready to go for our next steps in the assembly. You can see here on the instruction sheet what we're doing next is we're putting down all these cannons, which are there are quite a few of them. We've got to lay down the base for the cannon first. It's kind of these little miniature wooden assemblies with wheels on them. I've gone ahead and painted these already. The colors that I used were this Delta Ceram Coat dark brown for the wood, and then I used this Folk Art Sahara Gold, which gives a slightly aged, kind of a slightly aged brass look, which is going to look pretty nice on this. Now, wanted to talk about pirate ships a little bit while we're working on this. A lot of people think that pirate ships, look like they did in, say, the movie, Pirates of the Caribbean, where they've got they're old and they're kind of ghostly looking and all that. But in reality, most pirate ships were actually in pretty good condition. They maintain them fairly well. But what happened in a lot of cases is pirate ships were captured ships. The pirates would steal ships or capture ships, oftentimes from the military, like the British Navy or the Spaniards or the French or whatever, who was ever operating on the seas at the time. So they would simply hoist the skull and crossbone flags and otherwise operate the ship pretty much the way it was, and try to keep it up once they had possession of it, because it was kind of hard to come by back in those days. So they don't always look like they look in the movies and things like that. So I'm going to build this one up pretty much the way it looks on the box art, pretty in pretty good condition and everything, and just the usual colors that we would see on a sailing ship back in those days. So rather than having the cannons look all old and worn out and things like that, or the deck, or the sails and all that, we're going to have this one looking like it's in pretty good condition. So it's time to go ahead and get started here. I'm just going to start laying down these bases for the cannons first. We've got to go all the way around this whole perimeter. There's probably, I don't know, maybe 25 or 30 cannons here. So I've got my little Model Master glue here. We're just going to put a little drop of glue on each hole and start laying these things down. And this will be a nice little step that we get completed here. Just going to take my time and go nice and slow on this. This model, for being a Lindbergh model, it really has a lot of nice detail, and especially when we get to the part where we start doing all the sails and the rigging and everything, they've really included everything on this kit. It'll be a beautiful looking sailing ship when it's all done. I just hope I can do all the rigging and everything properly. It's going to be pretty challenging, but it should be fun. I learned a little bit working on the Bismarck that I just finished up, and the little Arizona kit that I built a little while ago, and about doing rigging and everything. So I'm getting a little bit better at it. I really like that easy line. That's what I'm going to be using on this kit. Get this to lay down on here. This one here, the peg is a little bit off, but it should sit down on there all right. There we go. Now, from what the instructions show, even though we have a slight curve here, the cannons are all supposed to face basically straight towards the side there, so we want to make sure they line up good. We've got these open gun ports that are all around the perimeter of the ship, so we want to make sure we do those right so the cannons aren't crooked inside the holes. But I really like this these craft paints that we're using here. These nice little acrylic paints, they dry really fast, and they have a nice flat finish to them. So we've got kind of really nice realistic looking wood with this. Really like how that's coming along. Just working our way around here. Like I said, we got quite a few of these to put on. Freshen up my glue a little bit here. Unfortunately, these are kind of on the lower deck. We have a double decker kind of deck in this thing, and there's an upper deck that goes on top of this. It's going to kind of hide these cannons, but you'll be able to see them through the gun ports since those will be open. Took me a while to paint all these too. They were painted them all with a brush. That's another nice thing about that craft paint, is that you can paint things with a brush, and It doesn't leave any brush strokes or anything. It dries nice and level. It comes out really nice. Dries pretty fast too. I cut it a little bit with windshield washer fluid, and with that alcohol in there, that helps it dry a little bit faster. Just making sure we got these guys all nice and straight. Yeah, they would have these cannons would have quite a recoil. I'm sure you've seen the old movies when they fire these, how they roll backwards quite a bit. You definitely didn't want to be in the path of one of them when they recoiled. They had a lot of force. Even back then, they had quite a bit of gunpowder they were putting behind it. Hopefully we've got the right number of cannons for the right number of holes here. Everything was still attached on the sprue when I took them all off of there and started painting them, so we should be good. Okay, that's one side. Let's swing it around here and start working on the other side. Again, I'm really impressed with this little Lindbergh kit. This is going to be really a neat little display when it's done. As I mentioned in the kit review of this, Lindbergh is not particularly known for super detailed kits, but this is one of their better ones. And I think this is a fairly old model. I think it's been around for quite a few years. So far, so good. That glue is kind of thin and it just kind of runs down in that hole and disappears on me after a certain point. So I'm going to freshen that up a little bit. These last few here. A little story to share with you guys. Back when I went out to LA and did the interview with the guys that worked on the models for Star Trek the Motion Picture, I had the opportunity to talk to Jim Dow, who was one of the master model makers in Hollywood, and I remember him telling me that when he was a young fellow walking around the lot there, at the various studios he was working at. He would go in these warehouses that they had, and they had all these beautiful models that had been built for various movies back in the day, and these sailing ships. And one in particular that he mentioned was the original ship that was used in the movie Captain Blood. It was a old Errol Flynn movie, and they were going to throw it in the garbage. And it was, something like 20 feet long and fully detailed, with movable sails, and just super, super detailed. It even had small little motors in it for, a lot of the old sailing ships, people don't realize they actually had oars that they could stick out the sides too. If they were low on, couldn't pick up any wind, they would actually row the ship. And it had little motors in there to operate the oars and everything. And he was able to take it home, and he kept it in a big garage for many, many years. He just didn't want to see it get destroyed. He wound up giving it to somebody. He didn't know where it was now, but he was telling me stories about how they would bring these bulldozers in there, or bobcats or whatever, and get these big dumpsters and just start crushing stuff. And it was just heartbreaking to hear it. He even talked about seeing the original aircraft carrier models from the classic movie Tora Tora Tora, the giant Japanese aircraft carriers, and how they just demolished them and pushed them out the door. And it's kind of hard to keep something like that, because they were like 20 feet long. But it's just a shame that they can't go in a museum somewhere, because people put so much work into those things and the detail and everything. But some interesting stuff. And they were just master craftsmen back then with those models, building everything out of wood and everything, and making them look so realistic back in the 1930s and 40s when they were doing those kind of films. Very, very interesting stuff. Okay, so we've got our cannon bases laid down all the way around here now. Got those looking pretty good. They're all pretty straight and everything. So I'm going to go back to the other side here where our glue's a little bit more set up, and start working on laying down the cannons themselves. On the top, just a couple drops of glue in each one should do the trick. And let's see if we'll need to do this with our tweezers, or as far as I can see, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to kind of check that out to see if they're supposed to be laying down against the breech like that, or if they're supposed to be kind of tilted straight. I think they can be laying down like this and they'll still make it out the gun port on the side pretty good. So we'll go with that for now. It's going to add some nice detail on the model here. This thing was really packing some guns, whatever it was, if this is modeled after a real ship. Go on down the line with our glue here a little bit. This is looking really nice. I like this so far. heard of a 21 gun salute. This thing could be like a 40 gun salute. This thing's really got the guns. It would need quite a few men just to operate these if they fired them all at once. This kit does come with some little crew figures, which is nice. Alright, we're making some good progress here. It's going faster than I thought it would. A little bare spot on the paint there. Let's go ahead and put that one side down. Nobody will see that. Okay, one side done, guys. Let me flip it around here and we'll keep on going. So far, so good. They look really nice. So far we haven't come up short on cannons or mounts yet, so that's a good sign. Knock on wood. A little piece of flash on this one. Thought I got all that off there, but I missed it. There we go. Peg on the bottom of that one sticking up. Get that off there. Otherwise it probably won't lay down in the cradle all the way like it should. There we go. This is kind of a old memory build for me. I remember years ago when I was really young, probably around 10, 12 years old, my dad and I were actually working on the there's an old kit out there called the Cutty Sark. It was a beautiful schooner type ship with a lot of sails on it and all that. It was a large scale kit. I can't remember who made it. It might have been Revell or Monogram maybe, but I remember my dad bought the kit and we were working on it together, and it never got finished because when we got to the part with the rigging, it even frustrated my dad, and he was really a patient guy, but it was too much for him at the time. So getting the chance to work on this with all the sails and the rigging is going to kind of be really similar to that. Revell also makes that really nice USS Constitution kit, which has all that detail and everything on it. That's a really nice kit too. Love to build one of those someday. Okay, guys, there we have it. There's our cannons all in place on the deck. Our gun deck there. There's a little bit more stuff that needs to go on here. There's a insert here in the center that's got to be painted a different color of wood, and there's some risers that go here that they're calling to be painted. I think they call it insignia red. I'm gonna have to kind of research to see what that color. I have a feeling it's sort of a dark red, and I can make that here myself. But we'll save that for next week. Like I said, we're just going to take our time on this and do a little bit at a time. Show you the whole entire thing getting built all the way through. I don't want to skip ahead, and sometimes I get ahead of myself here and I skip ahead and you guys miss a whole bunch of this. So this one we're going to take it step by step, and should be fun. Okay, guys, there's our work on our Jolly Roger for tonight. I'll be painting some parts this week, and we'll have more ready to put together for next week's show. Speaking of ships, I recently finished up my 1/350 scale Bismarck. I had actually brought it out here to show you guys. I was going to show it to you in the first segment. I forgot, so I'll show you that here just before, right when we come back. I had a great time building it. I learned a lot working on it. I've got the HMS Hood kit on the way, also in 1/350 scale, so I'm going to be building that one up. That's kind of my matched pair that I wanted to have for the. I always wanted to have those two ships from the Battle of the Denmark Strait, and I've already put up some shelves in my display room to lucky enough I found a place to put them. But I had a lot of fun working on that. My control board will be here this week from Ralph at Tenant Controls. I needed to put that little board inside the hull so I can turn off and on the lights with the remote, and I'm also going to have a little one of the spotlights on the ship on the forward part there do a little bit of Morse code signal when I want to, so I thought that would be kind of cool. But anyway, we'll come back after the break, guys, show you the Bismarck, and then we'll head into our shout-outs and our Q&A for tonight. So stand by. We'll be right back, everybody. Okay, everybody, back with you again. Hope you enjoyed our little bench session tonight. Coming along really nice on our little Jolly Roger kit. Again, that's the Lindbergh kit that's out there. It's readily available. I mentioned it in last week's show. If you're interested in that kit, they carry it over at Hobby Lobby. And of course, you can use your 40% discount that they have in the store there. And so you can get that kit for about 12 or 13 bucks. I mean, you really can't beat that. And when you get it, you're going to be really pleased. It has a lot of detail and all the sails and everything. The only thing that you probably want to replace on the kit is they give you some thread with it that's not the greatest thread in the world. You want to probably get something better. I know I was having a look around on some of the shipbuilding forums and things like that, and a lot of guys are nowadays are using either this easy line, this stretchable line that I've talked about here, or they're using a really fine nylon fishing line, because you can get that in different colors now. You can get it in black, you can get it in white, you know, you can get it in clear. So you got some options as far as that. I'm probably going to use some really fine nylon fishing line on the in black to do all the rigging on the sails and everything. But looking forward to getting to that part of it. That's going to be really challenging. Well, here I brought out the Bismarck, guys. I posted a couple pictures of this over on the Model Shop Google page. I'm going to have to back up here a little bit. This thing is monster size, but I'm really happy with how this kit turned out. Like I said, I learned a whole lot about you know, working with these ships and everything, doing all the photo etch and everything on it, and you know, I wanted to do something a little bit different. We put the lighting in this and everything. We used a little bit of fiber optics, but we got all the nice detail on the superstructure and everything, and everything that we had with this kit as far as the aftermarket parts that came with it. I'm really happy. Everything worked out great. The wood deck came out really nice, and the other aftermarket parts that we had for this kit, they all fit really well and added a lot of detail to it. So I'm just working on the base a little bit. I wound up deciding not to put the battery inside it because the deck has to be glued down on here permanently, and I was going to use a lithium ion type battery, and that has a long lifespan, but eventually it will quit working, and I didn't want to have it sealed inside the model. So I'll show you this really quick. I meant to do that before I set it back down, but what I've done is I've gone ahead and put a jack on the bottom of the hull there, and so up through the bottom of the base I'll have a little power cord coming up there, and my battery will actually be down in the base. I am going to mount the control board and everything inside the model because that'll last forever. But that way when the battery needs to be replaced, I don't have to worry about touching the ship or anything. I can just lift it up off the jack and get to that and everything. So I think that's the same way I'm going to do the hood. As I mentioned, I got the 1/350 scale HMS hood, the trumpeter kit coming, and I also got the wood deck for that. So I'm not exactly sure when I'll start on that. It might be a few weeks from now, but I'm really looking forward to building that one too and having both of those pair of ships. So anyway, it's been a lot of fun so far, and thanks to a few of my modeling buddies out there, Calvin Sweet, Chuck Brooks, a few other guys gave me some pointers and tips about ships, especially Cal. He's really knowledgeable about the Navy stuff, especially in World War II. About it was interesting when I was building the kit. Revell, they don't say what any of the parts are. So some of the stuff you're putting on the ship, you're kind of wondering, well, what is this? And he was giving me a lot of scoop on that kind of stuff. So it was really a neat little kind of learning experience there. Okay, guys. Well, it's time tonight to head over to our shout-outs and our Q&A for tonight. I'm going to roll up to the top of the list here and start calling out everybody. If you're here, make sure you type something in so we catch your name and we can give you a shout-out tonight. Up at the top here, we've got Rick Hanlon. We've got Phil with the Sprue Works, Dadnator24, Dan Harris, Mike Kovach, the Captain, Kenneth Zimmerman, Kenny with Sci-Fi Fantasy is here. Nice to see you, Kenny. Mitch Seagraves, Paul DiTomaso, Shannon Freeman, John Petrie, he's up late with us from the UK, Dennis, Federation Shipyard, Leona Timber Company, Shannon Freeman, Clint Llewellyn. Clint's doing a nice buildup of this same model kit, only it's called the Flying Dutchman. He's been posting pictures of his progress over there on the Model Shop Google page. Nice job, Clint. Looks like you're getting that rigging all figured out. That's the hardest part about building that whole model, and you got it looking really nice. We've got James Frost, e-biker. Nice to see you, James. Let's see. Don't want to miss anybody here. Outsider 238, Gadgetron 3000, Semtech UK. I hope I'm saying that right. Kenneth Zimmerman. Gary Jacquard. Mark Shue is here with us tonight. Barrick 13. Thomas Johnson. Thomas is a guy out there that builds a lot of ship models. I've watched a lot of your videos, Thomas, and learned a lot from your showing your beautiful models. I see you've built the Hood and the Bismarck and all those other ships. You do a beautiful job on your ship models. We've got T Commando, John Paul, Alpha Trion 92. Mike Kovac is here. Mike, I see you're participating in the Classic Plastic Tribute build. I think Mike's building the a Superman model kit. B. Tilley, John Bennett, Brian Knowles, James Schulenberg, Modeler X, the Captain, Omar. Nice to see you, Omar. Omar is doing a really sweet build over on our Google page of the Vulcan ship. He's done some casting work to create the clear resin part for the ring that goes around the center of it so we can light it. So he's been sharing information on there about how he pulled all that off. So thanks for doing that for us, Omar. A lot of guys out there want to learn how to do casting. That's something I've never done myself at all. Looks like we had a nice lively chat session tonight. You guys were typing in there quite a bit tonight. That's good to see, talking about what you guys are working on and everything. Some of you guys out here have built or have worked on the Cuddy Sark kit that I was talking about. That's pretty cool. I wonder if that kit's actually still available anymore. I don't even remember what scale it was. I just remember it was big. Dan Harris is with us tonight. I'm not sure if I called him out already. Let's see. A lot of people in here tonight. Eric Hawkins, the Kit Bash Kid. Nice to see you, Eric. Jeff Black. Nice to see you, Jeff. Chuck Brooks, the Gearhead Workshop is here. Nice to see you, Chuck. Jim Clark is checking in. Red shirt forever. And that's it, guys. So yeah, if you're sitting in here, make sure you type something in. I think, oh yeah, I see Armando, DLC Model Builders. Nice to see you, Armando. Armando's working on the Halcyon Models Nostromo. So he's doing a great job on that. I'm sure he's going to be posting stuff on his YouTube channel about it. They've got Roger Ball. A bunch of people checking in now. Let's see. Fubar Model Yard. Chris Farrell. Daniel Jumper. Let's see. Oh, we've got a good number watching live tonight. We're at 106, guys. Nice. Glad to have all you guys on with us tonight. Okay, guys, if you have any questions for me or anybody else out here, go ahead and fire them up. Alpha Trion, somebody asked about that last time. That's Dr. McCoy from, I think it's the Tholian Web. It was an action figure they put out a long time ago. I'll give you guys a closer look at him. He's pretty cool. I got the whole set of these. He's just the one I happen to have. He's kind of my little mascot out here. I really liked these when I saw these in the store years ago because I thought the suits looked really cool, just like they did in the original TV series. But I think his helmet comes off, yeah. Let's see if we can get that off of there without much problems. Show you old bones in there. Yeah, we got Dr. McCoy here, but I think we have. I've also got Chekhov and Kirk and Spock, and they all have these cool-looking old retro suits on. So he's my kind of mascot guy out here. He's got paint overspray on him and dust and everything, but he fits right in out here out in the shop. So Omar says we hit 119 at one point. Oh, that's great. Great to hear it. I'm glad we're getting some new people in here. We seem to get a few trickle in every week, a couple of new guys. And you guys will find that our chat crowd here is a really friendly bunch, and they'll answer questions for you and help you out. And everybody just kind of hangs out and talks about what they're working on, and it's a good time. Daniel Jumper is asking, have I looked at the Moonbase Alpha kit from MPC Space 1999? I don't have one of those kits, Daniel. I know that they repopped it, and they've made some small improvements over what the original kit was. The original kit back in the 70s wasn't much. In fact, when people got it, they were kind of disappointed. But I think they've made a little bit more detail on the base itself and the parts and everything, but I don't happen to have one of those kits here. I do plan on building the big Eagle kit that they've released recently when I get around to it here. B. Tilly likes the Firebird in the background. Yeah, we're going to do an out-of-the-box kit review on that one in the next show, Bill. That's I'm not sure if that kit's a repop, but or it's a brand new kit. But I won that as a door prize at the Model Fiesta show. They were giving away, or not giving them away. Well, they gave you a raffle ticket, a couple raffle tickets when you entered a model in the show, and then you could pick up some more tickets later on. And I was lucky enough to win that thing. It's a really nice kit. It's a 1/16th scale, I believe. The doors open and everything. The hood opens. It's a really detailed kit. Looking forward to building that one down the road. I have not got a Proteus kit yet, Outsider. I'll probably get that kit somewhere down the road. I'm kind of waiting until I know that's really popular right now. Everybody's getting that kit. I saw a whole bunch of people on the page posted that they got their kits. I'm going to kind of wait until Jerry from HDA ModelWorks had told me that they're going to release, Paragraphics is going to release a photo etch set for it, and I heard through the grapevine that we might be seeing some garage guys come up with some resin scale figures for it as well. You know, we got to have Raquel Welch in there, and we got to have Donald Pleasance up on the top in the old bubble, you know, getting attacked by the white blood cells. So, but I'll eventually get around to it. That kit's been on my list for a long time, and I'm a big fan of that movie. That might be my group build kit, you know, because we're doing the group build coming up here on the community, and it has to be a movie or TV subject, so that would certainly qualify for that. A few more people checking in. Ian McPherson, nice to have you with us tonight, Ian. T Commando is here with us. Again, sorry if I'm repeating some of the names, guys. It's a lot to remember. This chat page just... You guys are really chatting it up tonight. It's scrolling by like at warp speed. Yeah, from what I understand, the Paragraphics photo etch set will be out very soon for the Proteus kit. A couple of you guys wrote me emails in the last couple of weeks. As far as I know, Elliot Brown's still hard at work on the photo etch for the 1/350 scale Reliant kit that we sent off to him, so I don't think it'll be that long, and we'll have it back here in the shop. You guys have been patiently waiting for that, and I told Elliot, you know, not to hurry or, you know, bust his hump too much trying to get that out too fast. You know, just take his time, and we're going to have some really nice pieces for that when we get it back, and we'll continue on with that build. Ricardo Ortiz is checking in. I think he might be new. He says, he asks if I've ever built the Jupiter 2. Yes, I have, Ricardo. It's on my YouTube channel. It's back a ways, but I built the big Mobius kit and put all the lighting in it and everything, and put some figures in there from there used to be a company called Crow's Nest that made the Robinson family figures, and I used the Johnny Lightning makes a die-cast robot, the B9 robot. That's the only one that's the right scale for that kit. That kit's like I think it's like 1/35th scale. It's the big kit. It's a 18-inch diameter saucer. And so I took the Johnny Lightning robot apart and repainted him and put some lighting in him and got him mounted inside the ship. But that's on my YouTube channel. If you go to the channel and just click on my videos, you can go back and look at the history. It's back a ways. It's about maybe 2 years ago. There's about 500 videos on the channel, so you might have to scroll back until you find it. Kenneth Zimmerman, yes, Kenneth, I do have the Hannibal 2. I did a kit review on that during the last show. I picked that kit up at the Fiesta 36 model show, and I'm going to be building that up here. I've got some ideas for doing a diorama with that, so you guys will get to see that a little bit down the road. That is a wonderful kit. I'm really glad to see that Squadron Models has jumped into the actually producing kits. They're an online hobby shop that just used to just sell kits and parts and things like that. And this was their first production kit from Squadron, and I believe they're based right here in Texas. So I'll definitely support that. It's a beautiful kit. They're using a new type of molding technique, and the parts are just beautiful. Commando, that kit up on the shelf, the Enterprise, is the new 50th anniversary kit, so it has the smooth saucer. Good night, John. Thanks for being here with us tonight. We'll catch you next time. We mentioned on the last show, we mentioned the UGH Models company has come out with the 1/1000 scale Phase 2 Enterprise. If you guys missed that, you might want to go back and check that out. But you can also go over to Ian's YouTube channel. It's called Star Trek. Ian's a really funny guy. He's got a great sense of humor, but he calls it Star Trek. That's starch, like starch. Star Trek props and models on YouTube, and you'll see a really nice out-of-the-box kit review. A couple of my modeling buddies have picked up that kit, and they have really nice things to say about it. It's a wonderful kit. It's almost like a 3D printed kit, and it's solid resin, so you'd have a really hard time lighting it. But the parts detail on that kit is just phenomenal, and they give you a wonderful decal set with it that allows you to put the exact markings that we would have seen on the Phase 2 ship. There are some publicity pictures of that model out there of what it would have looked like, so you can kind of build a nice replica of that. I know I'm going to pick up one of those kits because it's the missing link in between the original Enterprise and the way the Enterprise looked in Star Trek the Motion Picture. So if you're an Enterprise fan, you've got to have that one in your collection. And I hope they come up with more kits like that. Jim Clark has to sign off for tonight. We'll catch you next time, Jim. Thanks for being here. Daniel Jumper, yes, the kit you see behind me up here is the big 1/350 scale space battleship model. I built two of those. I have one that went out to a client, and I have one that I have in my collection here. And it's a wonderful kit. It does have all the remote control, motorized turrets and all that. It's a fantastic kit. It's the king of the hill for Yamato kits if you're interested in the Yamato, the space battleship version of it. They're getting pretty hard to find now. They kind of they go out of production for a while, and the prices just skyrocket. And I was lucky enough to get one when it came out from when Bondi started making them again for a little while. Yeah, I do have a couple videos on my channel, the TrekWorks channel, showing me doing the buildups on both of those ones that I built. I did a little bit different detail on the second one. I made it look more like it looked in the animated series 2199, I think it was called, where it had the little anchor on the side and a few other things. That is a wonderful kit to work on, by the way. The engineering that they put into that, through, everybody knows Bondi is just really good quality stuff. It's a snap together kit. You do have to glue a few things on it though, just to be safe, but everything is engineered, especially the electronics and everything. It's fantastic. Gadgetron says Bondi brings around a huge 1/100 scale Yamato to hobby shows in Japan. Yeah, it'd be cool to see that. Getting into these battleship builds like I have, I was looking at some YouTube videos, and somewhere in Japan they have a display of the World War II battleship Yamato, and it has to be, I'm going to say, guys, it's 100 feet long. I mean, it's absolutely massive. It's inside of this gigantic building. They have a bunch of World War II Japanese airplanes and equipment on display in there. It must be some kind of a museum, but if you look around on YouTube and see that video, I mean, it's just incredible. They have like you can walk around at lower level, but some people were taking pictures or video of the ship from above, like on these balconies or whatever, looking down on it, and it's like you're looking at the real ship. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I can't imagine the amount of work that went into building that. Some of you guys may heard that over in China right now they're building a real 1-to-1 scale Titanic. It's not going to actually sail in the water. It's going to be a hotel, but it's going to be a freestanding exact replica of the Titanic in the same scale. It's supposed to be done sometime by next year. James Kirk asks, has anyone built the lower deck of the Jupiter 2, and if not, why? Well, there just really isn't any room in the model, James. That was always something that was really kind of strange about the TV show, is that if you look at the design of that ship, and if you look in the forward porthole windows where you often see them, you could see even then that there was no room to have that lower deck inside of the ship. It's just not tall enough. And there definitely isn't enough room. You've got maybe like 1.5 inches between the floor and the bottom, just barely enough room to get in all the electronics and the for the fusion core and all that. So yeah, that's you'd have to do a lot of heavy modifying, and then the ship would be a lot thicker than it normally would be in order to work that in there. I'm sure somebody out there has probably done it. If you look around on YouTube, I wouldn't be surprised if you found somebody that actually did that. Yes, Thomas, I think I saw on your channel, Thomas Johnson, he did a nice buildup of the Yamato, the World War II version. I think it was the Tamiya kit, if I'm not mistaken. I think they make a really nice kit of that. It's kind of funny, looking around at these battleship models, the quality really varies from one to the other. Like, for example, the Bismarck, I thought the Revell kit was the nicest one. I looked at the Tamiya and the Academy versions before I bought mine, and they just didn't look like they had the detail. You can always, of course, fix that by buying. There's an incredible amount of aftermarket parts available for these things with the photo etch, the wood decking, and like this kit that I built here. It also included a bunch of small little resin cast parts for a whole bunch of extra detail, like for the fire control and the AAA guns, the searchlights, all kinds of cool stuff. But you can really get into some interesting stuff, and you can really go all out on these things if you want to. I just kind of went like in the middle. I didn't do all the photo etch. I did most of it on like I said on some of the railing and stuff on it. I decided to use the kit parts because I thought it looked more realistic with being more tubular looking and not flat. I did use the photo etch for the railing all the way around the edge of the deck because that was really thin and flimsy stuff on the real ships. Battleships didn't have the same kind of railing as like a passenger liner. They had that stuff set up to be sort of temporary. They could take it down. They were just a bunch of posts with cables strung in between it on most of them, because they were constantly moving equipment back and forth and over the decks and everything, and loading stuff off and on, and they would need access points and all that. So that's kind of the reason they did that on the military ships. But like the Titanic or something like that, it would have really nice fixed, railing all the way around. I would love to build another Titanic. I have a I think the one that I built is a 1/500 scale, the old Academy kit, and I lit it and everything, but I'd love to build another kit. It'd be beautiful if they'd come out with, there's been kind of a trend for Trumpeter and some of these other companies to come out with these big 1/200 scale kits. It'd be fantastic if they did a 1/200 scale Titanic. That would be a beautiful model, especially if you lit it all up. But the 350 scale kits they have out there are pretty nice too. Yeah, Thomas says that his Yamato is the Tamiya. I know the Tamiya kit for the Bismarck. It's actually a really old kit. So and Revell, they had an old kit too, but this kit they've reintroduced it, and I'm not sure how long it's been out, but it's been retooled and everything, and it's got a lot more detail on it. Yeah, in the old television shows back then, like Lost in Space, yeah, they just kind of wanted you to overlook some of that stuff. It wasn't always, the external things didn't always look the same as, for example, where did they keep the Chariot? That's a pretty big piece of equipment. I know it's meant to be broke, they could break it down or whatever for storage, but they never did show how they did that. So that's a pretty big piece that needs to go inside there somewhere too. You had the little kind of closet there in the back where the space pod sat, but no one ever asked about where the Chariot was. I know like 2 years ago, Mobius said they were going to produce a 1/35th scale Chariot and space pod combo kit. So it was in the same scale as their Jupiter 2, but I don't think the kit ever came out. I hadn't heard about it ever coming out. That's kind of typical with a lot of these model companies nowadays. They announce things and then they never come through with it. I wish they would just hold off on announcing anything until they've already started making the kits, so they don't get all our hopes up and then let us all down when we don't see what we're, start expecting it and then we never get it. I have some pictures of my Titanic on my Facebook page, my TrekWorks Facebook page, Gary. A couple years ago, on the anniversary of the sinking, I think it was, it might have been a few years ago now. I think it might have been on the 100th anniversary. I posted some pictures of it and wrote a little something about that. I've always been fascinated by the Titanic and that whole story and everything. I mean, anybody that, my age that grew up, we heard all about it, read all the books and everything, and when the movie came out, it brought a whole new generation of people involved and got interested in it. Jerry Hedgecock says that Mobius still shows that the kit will come out one of these days, so let's hope it does. Mike says he wants to see the Phantom Cruiser from Space Ghost. Yeah, that was a cool design, kind of like the Dragonfly from Johnny Quest. They did release that, but I was kind of disappointed it was so small. Would have liked to seen it a little bit bigger. Nice kit though, and it's a nice. It is very accurate. It looks just like it. Yeah, Gadgetron 3000. He's like our resident roving reporter. He's always updating us on our model shop page about the latest kits and everything that are coming out. He seems to get the scoop before everybody else. He's got the hookup. Yeah, don't worry about the thumbs down there, red shirt. It's not a big deal. There's you're always going to get some of that. Yeah, I think right now, I'm not sure. There's several companies out there that make. Hello, Bill Kittleman. Nice to see you in here with us. There's several companies that make the 1/350 scale Titanic. I think that Minicraft or Academy makes the, as far as what most people consider the nicest kit, as far as the most accurate one. And they do make a nice kit that comes with some photo etch parts. Um, and you can find those fairly inexpensive on eBay. I've seen that kit for right around $80 with the photo etch. Got David Hale checking in. Nice to see you, David. Blaine Couch. Yeah, I don't think people will ever get tired of talking about the Titanic. I saw somebody posted some videos on YouTube where there's supposedly some company that's going to try and raise it or something like that. I think it's all a bunch of baloney. They need to leave that. Curtis Williams checking in. Nice to see you, Curtis. They need to leave that. They need to leave it alone. It's too far gone. It'll just fall apart if they try to do anything with it. Uh, it's just been there too long. I'm not one of those people who thinks it's wrong to bring some of the relics up to the surface and put them in museums. I just think they shouldn't like start going inside the ship and tearing it apart, because there were people still trapped inside that ship when it went down and everything. So you have to kind of have some respect for that. But we have Dave Flock checking in. Nice to see you, Dave. He might be new here onto the chat session. Nice to have you with us. You'll find a real nice, friendly group of guys here and gals. Yeah, but as far as bringing some of those relics up and everything, I would rather that some of those things got preserved in a museum so people for generations could appreciate the ship and what it was and everything, and also remind people that there were actually human lives lost on the ship. It's not just the ship. There were a lot of people that went down with the ship. And um, what I always hate to see, don't want to get into too much of the discussion on that, but what I always hate to see is some people have made documentaries and things like that trying to blame the quality of the build of the ship or the materials or whatever. It had nothing to do with any of that. It was going too fast at night when you couldn't see and crashing it into an iceberg. I would think the captain might be a little bit responsible for that. And the as far as the ship breaking in half and everything, you take any ship that size and you lift it. If you took your hand and picked it up by the bow and held it there for a little while, guess what? It's going to break in half. All the weights at the rear. It had nothing to do with bad rivets or bad metal or anything like that. The Irish workers there in Belfast, they built some of the strongest ships in the world. I mean, just take for example the Olympic, which was the first of the three ships that were built as sisters. You had Olympic, Titanic, and Britannic. Olympic sailed for like 40 years and never had a problem. In fact, it even ran over German submarine in World War I and sank it. Its nickname was Old Reliable, and it was an older design than the Titanic. It was like a year or two older, and it never had any problems. So that shows you what the design, the soundness of that design and the materials and everything. It's just that you can't go running into an iceberg. That was the problem, and it just was unfortunate. It was a bad situation. It hit at just the right spot, and something that they never, situation they never would have anticipated. And it was, if they would have rammed the iceberg head on, they probably would have made it. Yep. Yeah, man versus nature is never, we're never the winners on that. Nature's still very, very powerful, and we still have a lot to learn about it. Okay, guys, it looks like the questions are starting to wind down here, so I'm showing 8:30 my time here, so we've been on for about an hour and a half or so. I'm going to go ahead and call this one a wrap. We'll be back a week after this next week, and that'll be episode 108. We'll be back to work again on the Jolly Roger. We'll have another kit review. We're going to do an out-of-the-box review on the Firebird kit back there, and probably show you some more progress about some other stuff that we got going on here. I forgot to mention at the top of the show, I mentioned I'm going to be doing a kind of a new little format here on the show. The pictures for the slideshow that we usually do have been kind of trickling in kind of slow for the last couple of months. So what I'm going to start doing, instead of waiting several months for me to get enough of those, I'm going to kind of do like a around the community news building thing at the beginning of each show, and I'm going to show some pictures of your guys' work that you're posting from either our Google page or maybe even mention some people's YouTube videos and things like that, kind of a what's going on in the community kind of thing. And of course, what we'll still do is we'll gather up pictures and we'll put them all together at some point. And we'll do a slideshow on it, But the pictures that you guys are posting over at the Google page, even if they're just works in progress, if they're not finished or anything, I'm going to start picking some of those up and giving people shout outs and everything, and show what people are working on, kind of keeping people up to date. Maybe you didn't get time for a few weeks to stop in on the page and see what was going on and all that, so maybe that'll be of interest to you guys, and just going to try something a little bit different on that, because like I said, sometimes it takes a while to get enough pictures built up to have a slideshow. We want to have usually like 15-minute long or 10-15-minute long slideshow, and the pictures have been kind of trickling in lately, so I'm going to start doing that. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. And I'm kicking around a few other ideas on how to change some things up a little bit, keep the basic concept of the show going the same way, but just bring in some new stuff a little bit now and then to keep it interesting. So okay, you guys, well, I hope you have a great week. I hope you get to spend some time on your bench working on your models. Enjoy having all you guys on with us in the chat. We'll see you next week, and until we do, take care out there, and happy modeling, everybody. Good night.